So you need to know something about my parents. My mother is black and Cherokee. My father is Swedish. They met in Germany. But I was born and raised in Sweden. It is located here. Now, something about Sweden during the time I grew up in this country. Okay, Sweden consisted essentially of two groups of people. One group was blonde, blue-eyed, and quite reserved. And the other group was me, basically. It's a joke, obviously. That was actually me and my sister. Here's my favorite hobby. Here's my favorite movie. Here's my favorite book. You probably will not believe this, but this was my very, very first football game, right here. Against Oklahoma, no less. And you guys crushed them. Here's where I went to college. I studied environmental science for the following reasons. When I did that, I saw something interesting. A lot of different scientific research at this campus. But I didn't really feel that they were able to pull together the purpose of their research with each other. I wanted them to do that, so I created a science magazine for that purpose. It was quite successful, and this inspired me to start a healthcare company based on my aunt's research at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. Had a lot of fun doing that. Then I went to business school at Harvard, started a software company, which did quite well until it didn't. And then I had an idea for a book, and I started downward slope. That idea was based on intersections. I had seen that in my life, whenever I was able to combine the ideas from the different industries I've been exposed to, from the different cultures I've been exposed to, I had a better chance of developing new, great ideas. And I wondered, is that a generalized truth for innovation, these intersections? And I decided to research that. It took me far longer than I ever imagined. I was literally down to my last $2.45. Things started turning around. The book came out. People really liked it. It's been translated into 18 languages at this point. I get to talk to people like you all over the world, which I greatly enjoy. In the middle of this, in fact, I got married, I have a daughter, actually I have two, and now I'm here with you, which basically is my story up until this particular point in time. The average lifespan for a company that ended up on the S&P 500 used to be 25 to 35 years. If you ended up on the S&P 500, this is for how long you would essentially count on staying there. Today, the average lifespan for a company on the S&P 500 is 10 to 15 years. The company life cycle is shrinking, and the need for innovation has never been greater. And we expect that type of innovation to come out of not just companies, but out of our institutions and communities. So the question is, how do you come up with these groundbreaking ideas? What I'm going to say today boils down to three very simple words. Diversity drives innovation. Diversity of perspectives, diversity of backgrounds, diversity of departments, of cultures, of fields, of industries, of ethnicities, of gender, of anything that gives you a different take on a particular challenge or opportunity. And if you want to drive new ideas, then bringing people together with diverse perspectives and experiences is core to making that happen. But why is it that this particular approach to innovation is so fruitful? So if we want to understand that, we have to understand some basic facts about innovation. So I'm going to share 3 facts of innovation with you right now. Here's fact number 1. All new ideas are combinations of existing ideas. Here's the thing, though. Not all idea combinations are created equal. And if you don't give up, but you're never okay with failure, well, that means you're never going to try anything new. In other words, we're not good at predicting what ideas are going to work or not work. Because if we were, we would never, ever try any ideas that don't work. We're horrible at predicting what will work. At the intersection, we come up with better ideas because the concepts are further apart. We come up with more of them because of this exponential increase of idea combinations. And that is the reason why diversity drives innovation.
You think people want to come play football at University of Nebraska because it's a crummy team? No, they want to come here because it's a great team. So if you can create the understanding or the concept that this is a great team to be on, you can recruit great talent because they will seek you out.
All right, great. Give him a round of applause. Thank you. It's okay for you. We have microphones all over the room, so if when you're down there are feeling bad for me for not making it down there in time, that doesn't work, because I have a microphone down there too.
Well, when I look at this, I see diversity of talent. I see different people doing different tasks. And what comes to my mind is when you're trying to recruit, it's important to have a diverse team because you never know who the person you're going to recruit is going to connect with. You know, you may think I'm a great guy and everybody loves me, but They just may not, but they may like the person you're with. And I think the same goes with the different units within your organization. If you have different people with different skill sets who are doing the recruiting, the person you're recruiting may actually just have a hobby of something that the other person does, and they start talking, they make that connection, and there you have an attraction. So I think it's important to have a specialized recruiting team.
Are you suggesting that they're doing so together or sort of in sequence?
I think ideally together, but certainly opportunity to have access to all those people, because you just never know where the connections are going to occur.
Excellent. Give a round of applause as well. Thank you very much. I see a hand down there. Let's see, maybe oh, you got one? You got one right there, and I'm going to give you the microphone. This will be the last two.
Is this even on?
Go ahead.
Hello? Okay, great. One of the things I wanted to touch on what that first gentleman said was my friend Neil and I here were talking about concepts of team and finding talent, as was the activity. But I like the idea of him. He brought up the Nebraska football team. You think about what makes the team great. Year after year, do we rarely have the top #1 recruits of all the positions of all the nation? One of the strengths of our team, for those of you that follow the football program, is the great walk-on program that they have, where they find kids from small towns and they're given the opportunity to succeed and work together and create connections with others. And that was one of the things we thought of, was a lot of times you're given a group of people that may not necessarily know what their talent is. So putting them together and creating the connections and having the leaders and facilitators that are able to bring that out in them, that can create that dynamic that you'd want for your team or for your organization, much like it works here at the University of Nebraska with the football program.
Excellent. Thank you.
We have my partner just left. Too bad. I can tell, yeah, it was a great team. Connie came up with the idea that one of the issues here is how do you get them together? That yes, you want diversity, but typically, as you mentioned, we hang out with people who are like ourselves. So that was the focus of our thinking about this. And I kind of cheated and used an actual example that fits a rural area that was able to get the people together to do the brainstorming. In southern Manitoba, they were in trouble because they needed more labor. They were expanding. And this area happens to be an area where there were a lot of Mennonites who had settled there. This is a religious group that had moved there from Europe. But it turns out that there was also a group of them who had moved to the US and to Central America and South America and had lived there for many years. So what this community did is they said, well, let's go find people who might come here who we already share something with. You know, we're all wearing the same uniforms, even though we have different talents. And by that time, they were very diverse. They worked out with the Manitoba and federal government a program that now means that in that area in southern Manitoba, they have a level of immigration that rivals downtown Toronto in Canada. It's an amazing story. But what they did is they recruited around the commonalities that were there. So yes, diversity, but also how do you get them together? It was around the commonalities that they shared.
Right. Now, coming up with a great idea is not enough. You have to make it happen. The traditional way of making ideas happen is that we have sort of a graph. We have a timeline. We have things that need to get done. So first, we do step 1. What happens after step 1? Step 2. That's correct. And then that's followed by step 3, step 4, step 5, even, you know, sometimes step 6. But does this make sense when we try to do intersectional ideas, ideas that we don't really know how they're supposed to work or not? But it's going to help us think through how we actually execute these types of ideas. Because here's how we usually think about it. Say that you have an idea, and I know all of you here have all kinds of ideas. This is the idea, and you think about how should we execute it. Should we do it this way? We can discuss that. Nah, let's do it that way. Fine. And then you set up a goal. And the goal is large. It is significant. It's huge. Because who wants to be associated with a tiny, puny little goal? Right? Makes no sense. How about that's going to do for your career? or a sense of self-worth. No, make it big. And then you do it. And as you do it, use up your resources. Not just money, but also reputation. Reputation is one of the most precious resources. But the thing is, once you get here to this goal, you realize, my God, there were so many things I was just assuming that didn't actually turn out to be true. If I'd known then what I know now, I would never have done it this way. I would have done it that way. But now the money's out. Your reputation is taking a little bit of a hit. So you have to kind of like buckle down a bit. Keep your head down. Keep things just rolling. Not going to rock the boat too much. This is the standard way that most organizations try to drive change. Is there a better way? The smallest executable step is core to understanding how to drive innovation. And it was core to changing the fortunes of Jukkasjärvi, a region, one of the most desolate regions in Sweden. So I want to wrap up now by saying use diversity of all kinds to find unexpected connections.